Mounting a maxillary cast using an indirect Facebow technique. We'll start off by dipping the wax into a hot water bath. Carefully fold the wax and place it onto the bite fork. Remember to wrap a bit of the wax around the bottom of the bite fork so that the wax stays on the bite fork itself. Here is our finished product. We will seat the patient and set up the proper PPE. Next, we will take our wax that is already placed on the bite fork and dip it into the hot water bath to again warm it up so that the patient can bite into it properly. When the wax is soft enough, it is ready to be placed inside the patient's mouth. We will put the bite fork with the wax on it inside the patient's mouth and push up on the maxillary teeth, creating a small impression in the wax. Hold it there for a few seconds in order to get a proper bite registration. Once the wax has hardened a bit, we will take the wax out of the patient's mouth and check it to make sure it is correct, and then run it under cold water in order to set it properly. Next, we will place the bite fork onto the Facebow. Place the bite fork back into the patient's mouth and make sure that the maxillary teeth line up with the impression you have just taken. Carefully place the earpieces into the patient's ear. Adjust the Facebow properly. Use the notch by the right eye of the patient and line it up so that it is near the infraorbital foramen. Carefully tighten the screws in the order of 1, 2, 3 as shown. Take the Facebow out of the patient's mouth and make sure all the screws are tightened properly. Now I will show you the proper technique in setting up the articulator. Here I am demonstrating the indirect Facebow technique. Now we will take our Facebow that we just assembled in the clinic. Carefully unscrew the top screw and take the earpiece off of the bottom half. Carefully place this remaining piece onto the articulator and tighten appropriately. Don't forget to adjust the small bar found underneath the bite fork. This is used to give stability to the wax bite. Here we have a cast that has been poured up from an impression that we have taken from our patient. Carefully score the base of the impression to help with retention when mounting our cast. After scoring the base of the cast, carefully place it onto the bite fork, which is set up on the articulator. Now it is time to mix the plaster. Make sure you mix the plaster to a sour cream consistency, and then carefully spread the plaster onto the base of the cast as well as onto the mounting ring. Be careful not to put too much plaster on top of the base of the cast or you will create a small mess. You can use your finger to wipe off excess plaster. Once you have placed enough plaster on the base of the cast and onto the mounting ring, you can slowly close the articulator. Make sure you push down far enough that the pin touches the table. You can use your finger or a wet paper towel in order to create a smooth plaster surface between the cast and the mounting ring. Once the plaster is hardened, you can use sandpaper to really smooth out the surface of the plaster and clean any excess plaster off of the sides of the mounting ring or the sides of the cast. You can now disassemble the bite fork and mounting structure. And there you have it. You have just mounted a maxillary cast using the indirect Facebow technique.